One thing that you learn living in Croatia compared to Manchester is the importance of homegrown vegetables. A lot of Croatians have their own fields, especially in Dalmatia. They grow their own food, and it's an incredibly healthy and wonderful way of living, and I'm so grateful that my kids grew up with this affinity with nature and with the land. It's something I never had. I had no real concept of vegetables at all, but when I moved to Croatia, I noticed very early on, as I was traveling a little bit, that there is this culture here which even locals don't really acknowledge until you point it out, and it's called the culture of moving vegetables. So I've realized that if you travel within former Yugoslavia by car, it's very, very hard to go from one place to the other without having some vegetables in your car to take as a present from one family to the rest of the family. A few years ago, I was going from Jelsa on Hvar to Belgrade. My father-in-law, he decided to give some gifts to the family up in Belgrade, and I had 20 kilos of lemons and 20 kilos of potatoes in the back of the car. When I got to the border in Srpska, Goražde, the border guard asked me what I was doing. It was a bit suspicious. He was an English guy driving a car with Croatian license plates, and he had 20 kilos of potatoes and 20 kilos of lemons. And he got quite offended when I said that I was bringing potatoes to Serbia, because he thought this was me being quite arrogant, saying that Croatian potatoes were better than Serbian potatoes. And when I explained that these were for my punac, from my father-in-law, he said that could he take a couple just to test them out. He was just about to let me go when he said in Croatian, sve u redu, ali samo te znaš da kod nas nije punac nego tast. He said, so I just want to say everything's okay, but here in Serbia we don't say punac for father-in-law, we say tast. But then when I came back from Belgrade, I had 20 kilos of paprika coming back the other way. The most confusing one for me was one day I went to Zagreb, and I had about 30 cabbages from Hvar going up to Zagreb, which I took up to my brother-in-law. And then 6 months later, I was at my brother-in-law's, and he gave me 30 cabbages of a different variety, which were growing around that region, to take back to Hvar as a gift. So I was just this cabbage transfer service. Every time you drive through the Metkovic region, you have to stop there, and there's all these fruit stalls selling everything, and you just fill up. My favourite time there was I was going to England, and I was going by train to Zagreb and then to Graz, and so my father-in-law gave me a 10 litres of red wine to give to my brother-in-law at Zagreb station, and then he gave me 5 litres of olive oil, very, very generous gift to take to my family in England, and he asked me to buy individual bottles to put it into as gifts. And so this was 2001 or 2002, and I was going through customs at Graz, and my hand luggage was a 5-litre plastic bottle of olive oil, and they didn't take very kindly to that. I had to go and taste it in front of them, and then they let me go. But this culture of moving vegetables is one of the things that keeps Croatia moving, and if you ever use a bus in Croatia, you'll quite often see vegetables being sent up there, and it's Dalmatian mothers feeding their kids, and they send things on the bus for 20 kuna, boxes of lemons and oranges and everything else, and it's a very accepted way of life here, and it's fantastic. I love it.